Good morning, everybody. It's Jeff Goldberg for the Sales Pro Network. It is Friday, March 27th. Oh boy, you are at the end of Q1. I say it at the beginning of every episode, and I'll say it at this one too. If you are not at least 25% of the way to your quota for this year, right now, this second is the time to get busy. You don't want to call somebody like today's guest or me in November and go, oh my goodness, I'm not going to make my quota. What do I do? The answer is going to be, you should have called me 9 months ago. There's still plenty of time. If you haven't done what you needed to do, if you haven't prospected enough, if you haven't met with enough prospects, if you haven't closed enough business, you've still got 3 quarters. That's 9 months, and that is plenty of time. But don't wait. Now is the time to get going. If you have not joined us before, I'm a sales coach and trainer, and I work with individuals and organizations to help them increase their sales. And if you have joined us before, you know that every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, I either do a live interview or a live training. Today is no exception. I've got a live interview with somebody who can add value to the profession of sales. She's walked runways in Milan as a model. She sold millions of dollars in real estate, and she spent 3 years as an elite coach at Grant Cardone Enterprises. We all know Grant Cardone. Now she helps entrepreneurs and founders build confidence, real confidence, which I can't wait to talk about her with her because I have the Sales Confidence Lab. Please welcome the author of Highly Confident, Julee Gracey. Hi, Julie. Good morning.
Hi, I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. Julie, before I get to the 1,000,001 questions I have for you, would you maybe give us the 1 to 2 minute version of your background?
Sure. Yes, raised a farm girl, then worked in construction. So I can replace your toilet. I can hang your drywall. I can lay new flooring for you. So I grew up physical, hard work.
Wait. What time will you be here? Because I need all those things.
That's right. Here's my link. I will be there. So I definitely grew up physical hard work. I loved saying that when I went to LA to model, I was the only model that knew how to drive a tractor. What skill, where's that valuable in LA? But I had a dream and I wanted to travel. I really wanted to travel, and I would look at magazines and I would see these beautiful models and they'd be in foreign places. And so in my brain, if I just model, I can travel. And that was the entire motivation behind my modeling career. And I did that and traveled overseas, walked runways in Milan, worked in TV in LA. And then I switched over I wanted to start using my brain a little more, Jeff, not just the outside, and got into real estate. I actually Googled what's the top way that people in America have created wealth. And it was real estate. And I thought, all of my experience in fixing up houses, I know about real estate. I know what it looks like to go into an old house, fix it up and sell it for more money. Okay, so real estate. So got my real estate license, started selling real estate there. Then all the new agents started coming to me and saying, what are you doing, Julie? Show us your ways. And I started telling them, and they started seeing success. And that is where I found my true calling, was mentoring other people in sales.
And your book is Highly Confident. You talk about confidence. You're a speaker on the subject of confidence. I mentioned to you when we first spoke, and I mentioned it a couple of moments ago, I have something called the Sales Confidence Lab, which is designed for what I call accidental sellers, non-sales people who have to sell. How do you define confidence?
Self-trust. I mean, the most simplest form of self-trust. I can trust myself in any situation to handle the outcome, good or bad. And I will say this, and I coach men and women. And so for my ladies, a lot of confidence is the worthiness to take up space. That is something that, whether it's someone that's starting out from starting a business or even my corporate CEOs, it's something I consistently coach on. That's why I wrote the book. Part of it was because I'm teaching the same thing over and over again to these people stepping into sales. And it's not about their ability to sell. It's their own self-worth. We talk about, you have to be sold on yourself first before you can ever sell anything to anyone else. And if you are not truly sold on you as the person to be there and take up that space, you're going to struggle in sales.
So how does imposter syndrome impact that?
Yeah. Imposter syndrome is a little devil, I say, inside of you, right? It's always there. And it's something that's actually built inside of you, Jeff, because if you look at any toddler, your father, when your kids were little and they wanted something, Did they think, am I worthy to have this? And is it okay if I speak up?
No,
No.
not at all.
And they were relentless. Toddlers are a perfect example of the best salespeople. They do not give up. They're going to try to ask, then they're going to flop on the floor, then they're going to scream. They're going to do everything they can because this is what they want, and they believe they deserve it.
Toddlers know that 99 no's equals a yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
So can we go to Toys R Us? No. Can we go to Toys R Us? No. All right, well, let's go to Toys R Us. I mean, you're right. Relentless is the word.
Yes. And so if you really think about that, then where does that change? Right? Where does that change? And it's society that teaches us, oh, wait, are you sure that you deserve this? Who are you to ask for this? You haven't earned this. And that starts building. And that's what builds. I think it's a little character inside of you, right? This is based on psychology and psychiatrists that I've spoken with. And if you can kind of personify that imposter syndrome, I talk about this in the book, give it a name. And it is not you. It is not who you are. It's something that's been created inside of you, but you take it, you set it over here. And you can have a conversation. And I know that sounds a little like woo woo, but I'm telling you, I teach this all the time and it works. And it's based on fact and proper doctors. Yeah. But you're going to get that. You're going to get that where it's going to pop in your brain of who are you to take up this space? You know what? I don't think you're ready for this. You know what? You failed the last time you did this. You're probably going to fail again. You get that dialogue going. And the advice out there is just ignore it and just go do it anyway. I think that's horrible advice.
Or act as if.
Yeah. So set that aside and be like, all right. So yeah, I failed last time. Yes, I'm not completely sure that this is going to work out. Okay. Anything else? Anything else you want to add? Oh, my hair doesn't look good today. I'm looking a little fat lately. Okay. Anything else you want to say to me? Great. Thank you for all your thoughts. Then move forward. It's acknowledging those thoughts, but not letting them control the decision. It's a process. And once you start putting that into practice, it helps so much.
It's the same way I look at fear. I don't know how old you are. You're a lot younger than me, but if you saw cartoons when I was a kid, there'd be a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other shoulder, and they're both whispering to you. And the advice I was given was just turn to fear and just say, thank you for sharing. Now I'm doing it anyways. Yeah. So I don't ever have the, I failed before and I'm going to fail again. And I certainly have lots and lots of times where I'll get off a coaching call or I'll get done with a training. And in my head, I'm going, oh my God, I'm incredible at what I do. Because the truth is I'm really good at my job. I love what I do. I love serving people and I have the skills and knowledge to help. But there's also times when my voice goes, I can't believe anybody would listen to me. I'm such a dope. So that's not the hugest part, but it's always there. Just a little. No, I take it back. It's not always there, but there are times when it pops in. And is that a bad thing or just a natural thing?
It's normal. It's 100% normal. So Dr. Daniel Amen, he owns Amen Clinics. He's a brilliant psychiatrist on the brain, studies the brain. He calls them ants, automatic negative thoughts. That is normal in your brain. They're ants, automatic negative thoughts. And so you're like, oh, okay, there's the thought. Acknowledge it, like you said. Okay. But I don't have to believe. You don't have to believe everything that you think. And once you start, again, this, Jeff, because you've been in sales a long time, is it true? And this is one question I ask. Okay, is it 100% true? When you have that, Jeff, that question of, why should anybody listen to me? Yeah, why should they? Well, maybe because I'm not really good at this. Is that 100% true? Let's go look for proof. Let's go look for where you are actually really good at this. And so some of my clients, I have them create a little mini cheerleader sheet, right? They put it on their computer. Somebody sends you a nice text, you screenshot that. Someone says, I made the call. I did what you told me to do. I was scared to do it, but I did it and I got the sale. And you put that on. Everyone needs that little motivation. I would say motivation is like a shower. You should visit it daily. And for sales, you got to visit it multiple times a day because you get off one call. It didn't go the way you wanted. You said the wrong thing. And man, I dropped the ball on that. okay, how do I not take that energy into the next call, into the rest of my day, into my relationship when I go home at night, right? You have to have a process to get your mind back on track.
Got that. So yes, I do. I have an entire Outlook folder just filled with exactly what you're talking about. Nice things people have written to me about how I've helped them. And every now and then it's like, let me, oh yeah, that's right. Wow, I did help that person. So yeah. So I'm normal. Okay. I might debate that, but I accept it. You were a runway model, and I believe you were also on the Howie Mandel TV show, Deal or No Deal, the one with the briefcases. Yeah, am I right?
Yes, you are.
So here's the thing: models always look amazingly confident. I've never seen. I'm a guy who likes looking at beautiful women. Maybe that's sexist. I don't know, but
and that's normal too. Just FYI, that's normal too.
Julie, I appreciate the permission, but I'm going to do it whether or not I've got permission. But I gotta believe that they're not always every minute of every day amazingly confident. Is that confidence real, or is it an act? And is it something that you're born with, or something that you can develop?
I can't speak for every model, but I can tell you this, that some of them are naturally like confident. I walk in because they know what they're bringing to the table. Okay, they need someone, and like myself, how can I outwork my doubts? Okay, if I'm worried about how I look when I walk into an audition, well, did I take care of my hair? Did I take care of my skin? Did I take care, like everything on the outside? Have I made myself the best version of me? And I'm going to go present that knowing that if that's not the right fit for them, I'm going to be okay. Next, right? So in modeling, there's a mindset you have to really have of, it's like going to CVS and you got to go, I don't know, get some shampoo. And you walk down the aisle and there's every type of shampoo, different bottles, colors, fonts, designed for different things. That's what it's like to be a model in the most simplest form I can tell you. So when you're going into an audition, maybe it's for a pet food company, maybe it's for a bridal magazine, maybe it's for a commercial for a soda. The people that are choosing who they want in that, they have an idea, just like you would, of what you're looking for and certain things you're going to attract to. So it's the same thing as a model. You're walking in, this is who I am, this is what I can do, this is what I look like. Is it the right fit for what you're looking for? So I'm just a product on that shelf. And I'm okay with that. Some people think that that would degrade who you are. They're not hiring me for my personality. They're not hiring me for my brains or because I'm a good person. You have to understand, when you are a model, it is purely the outside look. That is your job. But nowhere was that my identity. Like if people didn't choose me, I was not worthy. This is where some of the models, it was their identity. This is who I am. And if I don't get jobs, then I'm not wife. And I'm so grateful I had really strong parents who taught me that your worth is on the inside. And so I never questioned that. Now, did I go into every audition like, I look amazing? Well, I'm confident in who I am, but I don't know that I'm going to get this job, but I'm going to try anyway, right? It's the courage to go do it, even when you're not feeling fully confident.
Yeah, maybe this sounds silly, but it's even in that runway walk. I mean, you never look at a model walking on a runway and go, oh, she's a wimp. It's like she could kill you, or she owns the world. And it's just amazing. I have a dear friend who's a model, and I've hung out with her and her husband a million times, and she's got no makeup on, and she's just your typical mom. And then she puts on the makeup and the short skirt and the boots, and it's like, holy crap, how do you do that? It's an amazing transformation. Really, really cool. I'm an average looking guy, and I do have certain talents. And I'm a reasonably confident guy for who I am. I believe in myself, but I doubt that what I have is Brad Pitt's level of confidence. And while confidence is certainly not all about looks, I get that being attractive does not hurt. How does someone who isn't born with the looks of a model, or the ability to turn into what looks like a model, because I'm guessing you don't wake up this way. I don't know what you look like when you wake up.
No, my husband of 23 years, he has the joy of seeing the morning version. And just like you said, it is a transformation. It's like from Jekyll to Hyde. It is really my husband makes the joke of like, this is you online. And then he turns to me and like, and this is what I see. Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, my friend Elaine never looks bad. I mean, she never looks bad. That's for sure. She always looks great. But when the makeup, I mean, it's a true transformation. So my question really is, how does someone who isn't born with the looks of a model or the ability to look like a model, how do they develop the confidence of one?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, Jeff, if there's some of the models I work with, most beautiful on the outside are some of the ugliest people on the inside.
Mm.
I won't say any names, but there's the energy that you put out matters. So you've seen some of these guys, you talk about Brad Pitt level of confidence. Then I would almost say, when you say that, what do you mean? Because there are some of the guys in Hollywood, you see they're dating some of these beautiful models, and they're a little rough looking, if you could put it that way. It's the energy, the confidence they exude in that. So I truly believe that when you are confident on the inside, that comes out. So you don't have to be like the standard physically attractive. Your energy can be very attractive. And so you build that inner confidence in who you are. And I truly believe, especially when it comes to sales, Jeff, is when you're not confident with sales, then you have to break down why. Why is that? Because you can outwork that self-doubt. I truly believe that.
Well, I think the lack of confidence in sales comes from at least a couple of possibilities. One is you just never invested in yourself to do the training, whether you're getting it from somebody else, reading books or anything else. So you don't really know how to sell, or you're selling a product which you don't feel comfortable with, which means you can't be confident. And I think that's a huge mistake. Anybody who's selling a product that they don't believe in, they should either find a different job or go sell something different.
I'm a perfect example of that, Jeff. I first got into sales. I tried to sell hotel products. Okay. But you know, the little doilies that you put your little glass on at fancy hotels. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I had just had my first daughter. This is easy, Julie. 9 to 5, no weekends or holidays. You make some sales and then you just get the reorders. This is the easiest 6-figure job you're ever going to have. Great. I'm a pretty social person. And I never sold a thing. I was terrible at it. Terrible. Like I look back and it's still like, oh, sweet. I had no clue what I was doing. But part of the reason, Jeff, is I didn't believe in the product. I just was like, why should someone spend more for this little doily than that one? That one's cheaper. You should actually go buy that one. I didn't believe in the product, so I never sold anything. So I could have stopped there and been like, you know what? I'm really bad at sales. This is not for me. And then, I don't know, went and did something else. But what I did was then when I went into real estate, I sold millions of dollars in real estate. How did that happen? Because I actually believed in the product I was selling. So sometimes it's not only a self-belief, but you have to have 100% belief in the product that you're selling. And if you don't, that's, like you said, you've got to train on that.
Yeah. I've only chosen to work with companies where I really believed in the product. I mean, I sold Encyclopedia Britannica. You may be too young to remember those were books.
No, I had a set in my house. They were amazing.
Well, I sold those door to door for 8 years and I managed for them. I was a true believer. I blew away the national closing average. It was 25%. I closed 85%, but it wasn't that I was a spectacular salesperson. It was really two things. One, the way they trained me, I just did exactly what they told me to do. And I mean, exactly. I didn't deviate not an inch. And the other thing, I truly believed that if people invest in those books, their kids were going to do better in school. I'm often asked now, how are you so confident when you're selling? I'm like, I'm selling my favorite product myself. It's not hard to be confident because I know what I can do. What's the difference between confidence as a feeling and confidence as a standard that you live by?
So what I find is you're not going to feel confident maybe in every situation. Like, oh, this is but I'm confident in who I am as a person. Right? There's a difference there. Who I am as a person, then there's how I present myself. Then there's what I can offer to the world, right? There's a different ways that confidence can show up. And so, but when you have, my big thing is when you have that, I am confident in me, that no matter what the world throws at me, I can depend on me to figure it out because I have outlived every worst day I've ever had, whether it was personal, through work, emotional, spiritual, what's the purpose of my life moments. And I'm still here. So I'm confident that no matter what comes at me, I'm going to be able to figure it out. I'm going to survive, right? And so when you have that kind of foundational confidence, Then I know, okay, Jeff, I want to go and sell this product. All right, well, it's a process. You take the emotion, set it to the side, and then walk through a logical process. And when you do it over and over and over again, okay, I have the proof, right? The proof. Like Jeff, the part of the reason you're confident in sales is because I know what I've done. I know what I've done in sales. I know how I've helped other people. I know how I have transformed other people's lives by teaching them to sell. And it's so rewarding, and you know that you could do it again. You have a framework and a process that works. And so that's where outwork that fear.
Yeah, I love looking at the negative there. So just like it's useful to have a file of people who said great things about you and all your wins, we all have stuff where we fail. Look, in sales, almost all of us fail more than we succeed. I do. I often say I'm so good at selling that people pay me fairly large amounts of money to teach them how to sell, but I don't close more than 50% of the people I first meet with. Well, for coaching clients, I do, but for training clients, it's under 50%. More than half the people I meet with say no to me, and I'm an expert. But I know my numbers, and I know that it's going to take a certain amount of those to get to the yes. And that's what helps me stay confident in my selling ability. I know that for every 4 people who say no, approximately 6 are going to say yes. And at that point, it does become the numbers game. The other thing I think that helps to be confident in sales, actually maybe in life, is what your come from is. And when I say come from, I mean deep inside your gut. If you've got commission breath and you need to close a deal so you can pay your rent or your mortgage or your car payment, you're going to come across one way. But when you come from a place of service, which is what I believe all salespeople should be doing, we're here to serve and see if we can help people. When you come from a place of service, it's easier to be more confident than if it's just, I got to close a deal, otherwise I'm screwed.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, Jeff, because people can feel that energy. They can feel the neediness from you of like, okay, I got to close this deal, right? So you got to be aware of that. And there's something, there's some comedians, there's a podcast, there's some comedians that talk about when they go to auditions. It's like almost like a little bit like aloof, like, I'm here. You can take it or leave it. It's almost like that attitude is it's a level of confidence of like, listen, this is what I do. This is what I offer. I know what I can do for you or what my product can do for you. What is it that you want? Maybe this isn't the right product for you. And when you approach it like that, then the person you're selling to, their guard is down. They're like, oh, well, wait, but no, I do want to work with you. Well, okay.
Yeah. Yep. The other thing that I think gives salespeople confidence is a full pipeline. And
yes,
it's the number one challenge I see with every coaching client that comes to me, every organization I walk into, everyone I work with. They simply are not seeing enough prospects, because who enjoys prospecting? Most of us don't. I'd rather my phone just rings all day with people saying, hey, I've heard you're great and you charge too little, sign me up. But that's not the way it works. But when you have a full pipeline, when you're consistently and effectively prospecting, you got lots and lots of people going through various stages of the pipeline. No one deal makes a big difference to you, so you can kind of relax. It's like the money's not important here. Let's see if it's a good fit. Kind of like dating. I often say sales and dating are very, very similar. Does she like me? Does she like me enough to go out with me again? Does she like me enough to close the deal? It's kind of, you've got to put in your time, and not everybody's going to say yes. Am I on track or no?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, okay, the guy that goes on one date, I really like this girl, and okay. Oh, but she didn't like me. Oh, I'm not worthy. Like, there's millions of other women out there, right? So go find, like I say, you got to go kiss a few frogs before you find, Prince Charming. So Lord knows I did, and I found a great one. So, but yes, in sales, and it's, oh, well, they turned me down. They didn't take the deal. What's next? And I had a mentor, Jeff, in real estate where I was so excited. I got my first $1.5 million deal. And I came running into his office, and I'm like, look at this. Like, look what I got. It's a signed contract. And he just looks up and he's just like, great job. And I'm like, well, did you not hear what I said? Like, look at this deal. Like, why aren't you clapping and jumping down and cheering? And he, I kind of looked at him confused, and he smiled. He's like, Julie, that's great. Great job. He goes, but now you just sold your best client. He goes, what's next? Focused on the next one. And I'm telling you, that statement right there changed my trajectory of sales, because I was like, look, let's celebrate. He realized I needed to understand this is normal. It's normal that it's a normal Tuesday. We close $1 million deals, Julie. It's great. Nothing to get too excited about. Go do another one. Can you repeat it? Go do another one. And I was like, okay. And then a couple weeks later, $1.3 million. I was like, hey, got another $1.3 million contract. So what are you working on? Like, it wasn't that we don't want to celebrate it, but it was just like, let's make this normal. You can create your normal in sales. And this was one of the best lessons that I ever got.
Yeah. The sales manager expert in me says, I would have given you 60 seconds to celebrate and then said, so what have you got in your pipeline?
Yeah.
And there's something else, and you're welcome to use this because I got it from a client of mine. He taught me, I was actually doing a training, and people who listen to this podcast have heard me say this before, so you can tune out for 30 seconds. When I work with clients, I always tell the VP of sales or whoever my client is, sit in the back of the room. The less you say and the less your people realize you're there, the better off it's going to be. But of course, if I say anything wrong that goes against your business, of course, interrupt, but disappear if you possibly can. Anyways, I'm in North Carolina doing a program, and I said something, and the VP of sales stands up from the back of the room and starts slowly walking to the front. I see he's coming all the way up, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh boy, please don't blow what's going on here. And he comes over to the flip chart. And he goes, would you mind if I put something up here, Jeff? And what am I going to say? No to the guy who's paying me? Sure, go ahead. And he writes this on the board, SW, SW, SWN with an exclamation point. SW, SW, SWN. And he goes, do you know what that means, Jeff? I'm like, no, please tell me. And he said, some will, some won't. So what? Next. And that has stuck with me for years and years because that's the nature of sales. And when we have confidence, we understand that not everybody's going to buy. And so what? It's not the exact same thing you're talking about where, okay, don't celebrate because that's what we do every day. But it's similar. It's like, great. So you just closed a big deal. Outstanding. Now what do you got in the pipeline? Because otherwise you're going to starve. And people,
I love that.
People do tend to live on the, okay, I closed $1.5 million deal. And then 3 months later, they're wondering why they can't pay their bills because they blew that commission check and they've got nothing going on. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was what my mentor said. He goes, Julie, you need to be so busy selling and closing deals that you don't even have time to cash your checks. This was the time where you had to go to the office and they would actually issue you a paper check, aging myself here. He goes, you're doing well enough when you don't even have time to cash those checks. And I was like, oh, that's the goal. And it's like those small things. So I would be prospecting, and they'd be like calling, Julie, you have a check here waiting for you. Okay. I would purposely not go pick it up. Okay. Because I don't have time. I'm like, if I have time to walk to the office and go get it, I have time to make another sales call. And I like just those small things that you learn to train on. And you're right. I would mess it up, but that I have to get so many failures in order to get the sale. So it's just like, check the box, check the box, check the box. And like I have behind me, there's a big sign that says no, that I teach my clients. It says no back there. And so I'm like, how many no's did you get today? If I called everyone loves me, everybody wants to work with me. You're not making enough calls or you're not charging enough money.
Oh yeah. I love when I talk to a prospect, they say, well, we're closing 100%. I'm like, well, first of all, then why are you meeting with me if you're closing 100%? And second of all, please show me your numbers because I don't close 100%. And I make a good living teaching other people how to sell. So maybe I should take your seminar. But when you actually call somebody out, nobody's closing 100%. And just like you said, the times that somebody has showed me that they're closing 100%, it only means to me they're only getting the easy ones. They're missing out on a lot of deals that they could be closing if they just fought a little bit. And I'm not saying fight with prospects. I mean, if they had a fight for the deal. And here's something else. If you can make enough money by only closing the easy ones, then goddamn, go do that. I wish that was the case for me, but it's not. So I have to keep on prospecting, keep speaking to more people. A lot of people want growth. They say they want growth, but they also want comfort. And I like both. I like growing and I also like being comfortable. Where do you see people choosing comfort over growth without realizing it?
Yeah, when they don't have a clear plan. They don't even realize you're going to naturally fall into comfort. Your DNA, your brain is designed to seek comfort. It is safety and it's keeping you alive, right? When you really think about this. And comfort is, a magical, it's just like, this is comfortable. This is a nice, safe, your brain loves it.
The door is closed. I'm on the couch with my dog. The TV's on. I've got my cocktail. This is great.
Right. And then, but then it's like, well, I don't want to have to be pushing and uncomfortable all the time. So I agree with you. You should have times where you get to be comfortable and rest. But how do we have both? And so something that I teach is what do you actually want? What do you want? I want to hit, speaking of business, I want to hit this target. I want to do $200,000 in personal sales. Okay. Well, then did you write out a plan for that? Do you know every week exactly how many you're supposed to be calling and what that is, so that I hit my targets and my reward? Yeah, I'm going to go sit on the couch. I'm going to just, Netflix binge, and I'm going to have my snacks and relax. Why? Because I know exactly where I am. People are like, have this anxiety and this worry in life because they have no clear plan. And so what I do is I make them do it for 4 areas: health, wealth, relationship, and joy. All 4 areas. What do you want? I'm not here to tell you this is what you should do. And we know in sales, we talk about quit shoulding on people. I'm not going to should anything on you. What do you want? Because I could see your potential, but you have to want it. I cannot want your sales more than you do. So as your coach, like you say, Jeff, you can coach them, you can show them, you can lead them to the water, but they have to drink it. They have to do the hard work. So what do they actually want? Do they have a clear plan to get there? And also, why do they want it? This is one, I don't know if you ask your clients this, but I had one client that was like, okay, I want to leave my corporate job. I'm making 200,000. I want to just make the same amount as an entrepreneur. And I walk through that process and I'm like, are you sure? So right now you clock in at 9 a.m., you work till 5, you have holidays off, you have weekends off. In the evening, do you think about your work? Steady paycheck. You got a 401k and medical. So if you leave that and then you go make the 200,000, now you're paying for your own medical, there's no guarantees. You're not working 9 to 5. You realize that you are doubling your schedule, at least in the beginning. And your goal should not be 200. And then we went through the math of what does that number actually have to be in order to leave that. So sometimes people, they jump into things without logically thinking about it. We did that exercise. She's like, actually, I need to be making $500,000. I said, okay, now do that math, those numbers based on what you're selling. Are you willing to put in the work? Because you're going to have to make this many calls a day based on your closing. Walk through the process before you jump. And I think a lot of people don't do that, but that's how I believe you can really build confidence in what you're doing. And Jeff, have the time to be comfortable.
Yeah. The other thing that I would have said to that particular client is, I don't care what you want. You want to make 200,000? I don't care. In fact, this is a conversation I have with all coaching clients before I agree to work with them. I tell them, I don't care what you want. I don't care what your hopes are. I don't care what your dreams are. I don't even care what your goals are. And of course, I co-authored a book on setting and achieving goals. So of course I care about goals, but the only thing I really care about with a client is, what are you committed to? If you want to make $200,000, that's terrific. But if you're committed to 200,000, that's a very different mindset as far as I'm concerned. And the commitment, I believe, will help to drive the confidence, as opposed to, I'd like to. Look, everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to be skinny. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to be happy. But it's too general. And unless you're committed to if you want to be happy, that's one thing. If you're committed to being happy, that's a different thing. But you still need to define, how will I know when I'm happy? How will I know when I'm rich? How will I know any of those things? And there's, I know you're halfway across the country and married, but I wanted to kiss you a moment ago when you said, what's the plan? I can't tell you how many times I've said, so great, you're committed to earning $250,000. What's the plan? I actually have my clients write out what I call a business plan. It's not a business plan that you would take to a bank and get a loan. But if you're going to go from $0 to $250,000 in the next 12 months, you got to do a bunch of stuff. Write that stuff down. And let's get very clear on what it is. Am I wrong?
No, that's exactly it. Because they'll say, this is what I want. And I've done this exercise with people that are like, I want to make this much money. Okay, let's write out what it takes. What you're doing is you're putting it into real actions that they're going to have to take every day, every week, every month in order to hit that target. Now that you know this, and like you said, I use the word commit. Are you committed to doing these actions every day? Well, no, and then one gal specifically, she was out of Australia and she said, part of those 4 pillars was her family. I want to be home with my son more. The last job I traveled so much, I'm not willing to give up. That's a question I asked. I'm not willing to give up that time with my son. Okay, well, with this new business you're going to start. Okay, well, then we realize she's going to have to travel a lot more. Okay, in order to hit this financial target, you're going to be gone 2 weeks out of the month. every month. Are you willing to give up that time with your son that over here you said you really wanted in order to hit that financial target? And so she realized, like, no, I'm not. I'm not willing to give that up. Okay, then let's adjust. Are you okay with making $500,000 instead of $1 million? Okay, what does that look like? Okay, that allows you to travel 3 days a month instead of 2 weeks. Okay, how does that feel? And then that's where she can build confidence in what she's doing. Because I'll tell you this, Jeff, we talked about, there's a question that I ask my clients: what are you not willing to give up? So many times we talk about what you're willing to give up to reach your goals, health goals. I'm willing to give up Doritos and margaritas on the weekend so I can get in shape. But what are you not willing to give up? This is not a question that I ever see gets asked. And then we go after that goal. And if my high achievers that are like committed, I'm going after this goal, you can get blinders on, and then you turn and you look, you're like, wait, I'm giving up all the things that are really important to me.
Yeah. It's you got to get clear on what you're committed to. It's why I never built an organization under me. I've built sales organizations for other companies, but I made a conscious decision to not build a sales organization for myself, because when you have a bunch of people that are working for you, you owe it to them to make sure that you're killing yourself every minute of the day to make sure that the company's making enough money. But my commitment to me is, if it's Tuesday afternoon at 2:00 and I want to go sit on the beach and drink tequila, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So it's a matter of, what are you willing to give up in order to have what you want? I like making a lot of money. I like serving a lot of people. I love what I do, but I also like being able to, I don't want to work on Friday. I'm going to sit at the beach all day, or whatever that thing is.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where you have the confidence. That's part of why you have the confidence, Jeff, because you know, I could go do this. I could go make how much more money, but I'm not willing to give up this. This is a part of my priority. Yeah. This is a part, because what is success? What is success? It's different for everyone. And everyone thinks, oh, making millions of dollars, that's success. Is it though? Maybe for you. For me, is being able to make money that provides me a really great life and be present for my husband, for my children, for myself. Like, there are times when I didn't give myself time in the past. It was, if there was free time, I'm selling, I fill it up with doingness, right?
Yeah.
And it's burning out really fast, right? It's hard to do that. So yeah. I learned to say, okay, part of it, yes, I could go make more sales calls. Yes, I could do another meeting, or including time where it's just for me to breathe and whatever it is that makes, for me, right, that comfort part, and fitting that and being okay with that, giving myself permission to put me first and take care of me, because the better that I am, the better I'm going to be in sales, the better I'm going to be for my husband, the better I'm going to be for my kids, the better human I'm going to be. Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's why I almost said I don't understand, except I just think it's ego. It's the guys who create these companies and are making billions and billions and billions of, I mean, does Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg really need that much money? What can it be other than ego? Look, would I love to have billions of dollars? It would be lovely, I'm sure. I think I could handle it mentally, but I don't need that. In fact, I've often thought, and maybe I'm dreaming, but if I got to a certain level of success, I don't let me. Sorry. In my head, I'm going crazy. It's like, if I was Jeff Bezos,
there's 1,000 things I know.
It's that maybe I could pay my people just a little bit more per hour, and I don't need to have 500 billion or whatever the heck he's got. It just doesn't make sense to me, other than my ego is assuaged because I'm the richest man or the second richest person in the world or something like that. And, you know, my boat's bigger than yours. I just don't have that. Do I want to live a comfortable lifestyle and have plenty of money so that I don't have to worry about paying the bills and I can do whatever I want whenever I want to? Absolutely, positively. But at least for me, my ego is not tied up in, oh, I've got more money than you. I want to switch to something else, though. Thank you for that psychology session, letting me get that out of there. What advice do you have for people who have that model walk during the day, that they walk through their day full of confidence, but in the dark of night, when they're alone in their bed, they're consumed with doubt. And I'm not asking your politics, and I don't care about them. But Donald Trump, you got to admit, this is a very confident guy. He doesn't doubt himself in anything. But I always wonder, in the middle of the night, when he's not truthing or tweeting or whatever the heck he does, is it really, oh my God, why doesn't anybody like me? And I don't know. So what advice? Not what advice do you have for our president, but what advice do you have for the people who put on the act during the day, but at night, the whole night is like, oh my God.
Yeah. So when we talked about, there's different types of confidence. I present myself confidently in this situation. I talk about the different hats you can put on, right? So when I'm here talking with, as a business coach, as a sales coach, it's a different hat that I have on than if I'm sitting on the floor teaching, my younger daughter to, stack blocks. It's not the same energy I bring into that. Right. So, and then at night when you're not, business coach, you're not sales persona, or you're not parent, but you're just sitting there with you, right? How do you feel about you? That's that inner foundational confidence. And if you feel like I'm doubting myself, okay, well, that's the work you have to do. And that's, again, I'm a big believer in writing down, because there's science behind what's in your brain through the pen to a paper of what are you thinking? What do you actually want? Again, when you are clear on what you want, so that maybe maybe that's with relationships. Maybe that's with your personal joy. Do you have enough joy in your life? Right? Are you getting all of your joy and your identity through work? And that, I think, is one of the challenges that I have for some of my high achievers of, if I'm not succeeding really well in work, then I'm a piece of shit, and we've got to fix that. You're going to go and do your best and you're going to make mistakes, but that doesn't have anything to do of who you are as a human. And I know for my guys, especially, they're just like, all this woo-woo stuff. I know you don't want to hear it, but I'm going to tell it to you, and we're going to work on this. And I've done this multiple times where they start taking care of themselves mentally. Look at me. Do you feel good about yourself, buddy? Right? You got 20 extra pounds on there. You got the dad bod going on. You're crushing it at work, but then when you go home, your wife is complaining that you work too much. When was the last time you went on a date with your wife? How much time have you spent with your child? So when I coach them, that's part of it, because they all connect. You want to get better in sales and have more confidence. Well, how many times did you move your body this week? When was the last time you swung by underneath that bridge and grabbed some flowers and took them home to your wife and said, hey, you know what? I know I don't tell you enough, but I really appreciate you. Have you ever said those words to her? Well, guess what? You get to start. And you'll be amazed. And they show up on, the next week's coaching call, and they're just like, their energy through the call. They're like, I did what you said. And my wife, she was so happy. She thought, like, what, like, is there some joke going on? She goes, she did not believe. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, and then Sunday I didn't work, Julie. I didn't work. It was really hard not to get on my phone, but I took my daughter to just go eat, the two of us. I'm like, and how do you feel? He's like, I feel like a really good man right now. Great. Now let's go crush some sales. Okay. Like, all of those affect each other. So I'm a big believer in kind of touching on all of them. I'm going to help you, just like you, Jeff. I'm going to help you create sales. I'm going to help you with these areas. But we're also going to touch on the personal things, because they all affect each other. Absolutely,
positively. And by the way, that's why I love my dog, because no matter how I walk in the door, that butt's wiggling and that tail's wagging. Even if I don't bring him flowers, he's always happy to see me.
Yes, my dog too. She is just like, I leave for 10 minutes, I come back, and it's like, where have you gone? Yes, I'm a dog mom. She's the best.
And I'm guessing that, like me, it's like, okay, I'm just taking out the garbage. I'll be right back. But
yes.
2 minutes later when I walk in, it's like, you were gone. I can't believe it. Thank God you're home.
Laying by the door in case you never come back. Yes.
Yes, exactly right. If I leave the door open, I promise I'm coming back. So we've covered middle of the night. Maybe the advice is the same for this, but what about when self-doubt shows up in mid-action? What's the discipline move? What do you do in the moment when your mind starts negotiating?
Ask a question. And I've taught this before. You're talking with a client. I'm trying to talk with you in sales, and something I asked maybe the wrong question, or you kind of went sideways on me. And so your nervous system starts to freak out, right? You're like, oh, and you can feel it. Oh, shoot. And your brain starts.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So here's something that I have taught, especially for networking events as well. So in that, pause, acknowledge what they're saying. And then what's a question I can ask? The reason I want to ask a question is I want to get them talking for my benefit. Because in that moment, maybe it's, I understand, hear what you're saying. So when you say that, can you explain to me more about what you mean? It doesn't, you can train on whatever the situation is. I'm going to ask them a question. Why? Because I know I need to reset my body. And how do I do that? So I'm asking a question to you and I'm smiling. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold my breath. I'm going to slowly let it out. And you can do it
without it looking like you were doing it. I caught it.
Yeah. I did it more obvious on purpose so you could see, but you're going to deep breath, reset your nervous system. And I used to hear this all the time, Jeff. I was the most like, oh, take some deep breaths, like the complete BS. What are we doing? Let's go.
Nope.
And then you start to realize, oh, okay, drink the Kool-Aid, just drink the Kool-Aid, Julie. And then you do, and you're like, oh, this works. So in that moment, I'm stressed, holy crap. But how can I give myself a pause in that moment? I can ask a question, get them talking, and I'm listening, but I'm also, okay. Because you really are resetting your nervous system. I would say when you get overwhelmed and you get stressed, I had to explain this to my children, and I'll use the example here. There are little doors that are open in your brain. And when those doors are open, you can think clearly. When you get nervous or stressed in the moment, those doors slam closed. Your brain cannot connect with the different parts to think clearly and make a proper decision. So how do you get those doors to open back up? You breathe and you blow the doors open and allow your brain to reconnect. And I had a young girl, one of my daughters was very challenged to understand her emotions. And when I explain it that way, she got it. And I've used this with clients and they start doing it. They're like, oh, Julie, that actually really helps. I'm like, I know. So in that moment, how can I reset myself? That's one of the little tricks that I use.
Yeah, deep breathing is a very powerful tool. And it's the reason why more people aren't dying on freeways and expressways here on Long Island. Because if you cut me off, my immediate thing is, I want to kill you now. If I had phasers on full, I would be using them. But I taught myself that when I start screaming at somebody in my car, they're not upset. I am. And so now it's just like, okay, I still want to kill you, but I'm all right. You're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. And then of course I'll pass them on the right and, slow down. But
yeah. Well, and Jeff, I'll say this, I'll tell you that I started doing this years ago and then I got a client and that is her business. And then I really got to dive into the data with her because she was trying to talk to executives about going in and teaching them to breathe. I'm like, you're going to speak to someone like my husband, who is a corporate executive. He's not going to even, he's going to be like, get out. You have to talk with data. And some of the data, her name's Kiki, and she's amazing. And some of the data she's used with teaching corporate executives how to breathe. One of her clients had like a 1,700% increase in revenue.
Wow.
For their corporation. And I'm like, how is that a real number? How is that? Wait a minute. Looking, and some of them obviously less, but you have a 30% increase in productivity. You have a 40% increase in sales by teaching them how to breathe. And, you have a reduction in heart attacks.
Yeah.
You have our age, Jeff. We're prime. We're right in that zone. We're right in that zone, buddy.
I'm just laughing because you said our age. We're not the same age, Julie, but okay.
Well, there's a bracket. We're in the same bracket. Okay. And it is. And it's, if you're like, okay, I want to provide this for my family, but I assure you all your family wants is you. They don't want your money. They might enjoy your money, but they want you. So how can you be the best version of you? You can take care of you. And part of that is simply by learning to breathe.
Yep. Any form of meditation has huge impact on your success in life, your physical, everything. And deep breathing is just one more form of meditation. I teach it to many of my coaching. In fact, I was talking to a client the other day and he goes, Jeff, I don't know what to do. I said, you know what? Here's what we're going to do for the rest of the time today. I'm going to teach you how to meditate. He goes, I don't want to learn how to meditate. I said, that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
You're going to learn how to meditate because I know that in another week or two that this guy's going to have he's going to have a breakthrough. He's going, oh my God, I can't believe it. Because look, I am a woo-woo guy, so you can talk woo-woo to me all day long, except the woo-woo stuff is real. I mean, it sounds woo-woo, but there's a reason why all these things are discussed, and it's because they work. Tell us about your book, Highly Confident. Who's it for? Why'd you write it?
Yeah, Highly Confident. I kept teaching the same thing over and over again to my clients and realizing it didn't matter if it was someone that was starting a business from scratch. This is a new business, or my corporate CEO running a multi-million-dollar corporation. I was teaching the same thing. And I didn't realize, when you're a coach, there's a lot of self-realization in that, right? It's like the ultimate self-growth. I didn't realize that people lacked so much confidence. You see, I grew up on a farm, Jeff, where when the cows got out, you go figure it out. You have these massive beasts running free. Nobody's coming to save you. You're going to have to depend on you, right? You're 200 acres in the middle of nowhere. Great. Okay. I have to figure this out. And I learned from a very young age to depend on me, that I'm not going to do it right, but I will figure it out. And, having two parents that worked 80 hours each, I got off the bus, came in, and I made the dinner. I did the laundry. I cleaned the house. Like, I was very confident in my abilities, because did I burn food sometimes? Sure. I think I was 10 years old. Okay. Well, my mom would be like, do it again, do it again, do it again. It wasn't like, oh, you failed. No, it was like, you'll figure this out. Do it again, do it again. And I learned to outwork, my fears, and, oh, you failed. Failure was just data. It wasn't like, oh, I'm a terrible person. So I learned from an early age that failing was it was the fastest way to find success. If I burn this food 10 times, I'm going to learn each time what not to do. And by the 11th time, I got this.
Hopefully.
Right? Oh, yeah. Hopefully. Everybody can see. And so, but I didn't realize that people don't have that confidence in them. They didn't have a parents like I did. They didn't have the experience that I had. They truly doubted themselves. And I'm like, oh, well, this is where you don't believe that you're good enough. Oh, who told you that? Who told you you're not good enough? Oh, so I've been called like an aggressive cheerleader as a coach. And I'm like, I take that as a compliment. Yes, I am. I am very much aggressive cheerleader, because we do not let all these outside voices control us. We are in charge of ourselves. And I love being that person. And Jeff, you probably know this. When you get with some of these people, you're the only person in their lives that is aggressively cheering for them in business. When you're a leader, it's lonely. You don't go down to your staff and say, hey, what do I do about this? It can be a lonely place. And of course, the doubt comes in. It comes in for everyone. And to be able to be that for them, that hold that space for them, that they can let out some of those fears, some of those doubts, and confirm, yeah, no, we're going to logically go through a process and help you with this. But dude, you're awesome. You've got this. And I'm here. When you screw up, and I don't know about Jeff, when my clients go get on a call and somebody rips them a new one, or they like their mind gets off, or it gets, say, through that outer shell, it gets inside of them, and they're like, oh man, I really suck at this, or this client was so mean to me. I tell them, when you're with me, you send that to me. Someone sends you a bad message, or you call me, you text me. I'm like, give it to me. I eat that stuff for breakfast. Yep. Get it off of them. Give it to me. Now, it's off of you. Now go make that next call, right? That's what accountability and coaching does. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the things that we're told as a kid. So you had parents who were encouraging, and, okay, do it again. You're going to do it. But, as you were saying that, a scene popped into my head. I don't know what grade I was in, maybe 5th grade or something like that, very young. And I remember having an argument in front of the entire class with my English teacher about, I don't remember what book we were arguing about, but I've said this many times on the show, and I know I mentioned it to you, I'm a stand-up comedian on the side. I love doing comedy. And he was, bitching at me for, saying something out loud. I said, well, one day I'm going to be a comedian. He goes, Jeff, you're not going to be a comedian. Yeah. You're just not. I wish I remember this guy's name and would hope that he's still alive. So, actually all the teachers who said, you're not that funny, Mr. Comedian. Guess what? I am a comedian. Ha, ha, ha. But they tell you that stuff and it sinks into your head, because I'll tell you this. All my life, I've been told, oh, you're so funny, you should be a stand-up comedian. And in my head, I think I heard the voices too many times. Be quiet, Mr. Goldberg. You got to raise your hand. You're not that funny. And often I think that's what inspires you to achieve. All the people tell you can't. Absolutely. Or you let it stop you.
Yes. Well, and that's what I write about the book. Every time I hear can't, immediately my brain was like, and we're going to go do that to prove that actually you don't control me. And luckily my mom knew that from a very early age and taught me one question to ask myself. And that's, what if I did? And it got me to pause and think logically through the process. And that's a process I teach today for my clients is stop.
Awesome.
What if I did? And because Jeff, the same thing, I was told, Julie, you talk too much. Julie, you attract too much attention. You're too loud. You're too boisterous. Okay. Let's pretend if it's true. I talk too much. I attract a lot of attention. I'm too boisterous. Where is this good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go work in TV. I'm going to go be a host. I'm going to go be a speaker. I'm going to go be a business coach. And now these things these are bad. Yeah, I get freaking paid to do it. So there you go. Right. So thank you for telling me that I can't. Even this book, right? My English teacher, if you saw my papers, I think she had a red pen that was designated just for Julie. Oh, Julie's paper's coming. Let me grab the red pen. Over and over and over. And so, yeah, guess what? I'm not a good writer. I'm not good in English. Thank you for all that motivation. So sometimes you just have to eat that stuff for breakfast and be like, watch me.
Love that. We've only got a couple minutes left, and I want to make sure we have time to tell people how to reach you, but there's something I have to ask you about. You talk about apologizing less. Do people apologize too much? What are the most common ways high performers unintentionally minimize themselves, and what replaces that habit? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about, I think that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Don't mean to bother you, but statements like that. Why are you apologizing for just taking up space? Right. Then it's all this mental, or especially females. Females are notorious. We sprinkle sorries. Sorry to bother you, but why are we apologizing? Right. And so I have people that my coaching clients are like, oh, Julie, I'm sorry, but nope, red flag, rephrase. And it's a habit. It's just a habit, but you don't even realize you're doing it. And that wears down your confidence. Hey, instead of being like, oh, hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but can I get a couple minutes of your time? Walk in and be like, hey, Jeff, I need a couple of minutes of your time. Would Tuesday at 2 or Friday at 4 work best for you?
Yeah.
I'm asking the same question, but I'm not apologizing for taking up space. Right? So that I'm sorry, or, oh, I just need to do this. Hey, Jeff, I need this information. When do you think you could get that to me? Speaking more like with conviction, right? Conviction in your words. And I have a list of this in my book too, is not well, maybe we could do this. I believe we should do this. And here are the reasons why.
Yeah.
Right? The words that you say create your life that you have. So being very mindful of the words that you say. And I can just tell anyone listening, stop apologizing for being alive and taking up space. You're worthy of taking up space. And if someone doesn't like that you're taking up space, well, then they can move.
Yeah. And on top of that, as the listener, when you start out with, I'm so sorry, that I'm bothering you, I'm automatically, yes, you're bothering me. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to put that in my mind? It doesn't make any sense to me. And we are out of time. But before we go, I'm going to share my screen so that people can see how to get in touch with you in various ways. But this will be converted to a podcast that people won't be able to see. Would you please explain to people how they can reach you if they want to buy your book, they want to talk to you, if they want you as a coach? How do they reach you, Julie?
Absolutely. So on Amazon, you can simply type in Highly Confident and you will have my book. I actually have an audio book on there now that I recorded in my voice. So in case you want my voice in your ear on your walk in the morning, it's there. And I sound really good at 1.2 speed, by the way. And so, yes, social media, Julee Gracey. And, I would just like you, Jeff, I would love to help anyone that needs help in sales. Jeff has amazing programs for that. And so do I. And so, I love interacting with people, even if it's a strategy call. Hey, I'm questioning this. The first chapter of my book, if you just go through the first chapter and do that exercise, it will impact your life, guaranteed.
And Julie, because again, some people can see this right now, but for those who will be listening, if they look up Julee Gracey, they're probably not going to spell it right. Would you like to spell your name so that people actually find you?
Yes, my wonderful French-Canadian mother. Yes, it's Julie. You know that in Canada, they say my name Julie. It sounds so beautiful. America,
beautiful. Even when they swear at you, it sounds like poetry.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But
beautiful language.
America, I'm just Julie, but it's Julee, no I, Julee, Julee Gracey. Yeah.
And Gracey is Gracey.
Yeah, Grace with a Y.
And the book is Highly Confident.
Yes.
And it's available on Amazon.
Yes, sir.
All right, we've plugged our rear ends off, so I will end as I always do. First of all, thank you for sharing your brilliance so generously. It's greatly appreciated, and I appreciate you. And I'll end as I always do. Gang, please remember that sales is a game of making things happen. Get out there and make sales happen. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great weekend, Julie. Thanks.
Thank you.